This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Boulder, Colorado. I'm here with Green Energy Units, the distributor of Avapod. I'm here with the business development. Jay, let me ask you this. You got quite a product here, the Avapod. It's basically providing energy wherever a person needs it out there. Why don't you share with me, first of all, what got you involved in this industry?
My background is more business. I've been involved with different business that I've set up, including fair trade businesses over in Asia with small villages, translation companies, wide range of different companies that I've actually been involved in, helped to set up. And when I saw this, I could not be part of it. It's just too exciting. It's just really fantastic.
That's what I was going to ask you, is basically the fact that you got excited at something and obviously you wanted to share it with the world. This truly is a latest innovation right here. Share with me what the Avapod does. It basically is providing energy, electricity to folks that may otherwise not have tapped into it.
Well, the amazing thing about the Avapod is that it's really one of a kind. It can be used for people out in the middle of villages someplace, remotely, people who are living in the mountains off the grid, companies that want to control their energy prices, construction companies, companies that do restoration, disaster zones, governments, anybody who actually uses energy and wants to have a consistent price for their energy.
As far as the unit itself, we're talking about energy that you can use immediately, but you can also store it in a battery as well. Is there some type of inverter in there that is converting this from a DC to an AC, something we're more used to using in our household?
For the technical side of it, it involves converting the sun's energy, the wind energy, and either you can use it directly or it'll store in batteries and you're able to use it in that capacity.
One of the things I noticed here when I look at this unit, did a little more research on it, I realized that it's really more than just energy we're talking about, or electricity. I mean, the basic unit itself provides that, but you're talking about additional modules that quite honestly are limitless.
Well, yes, exactly. The real concept is everybody's concerned of two things. Okay. Energy breakdown in the system, because we have one centralized grid system. If there's breakdowns in one area, it can affect the whole cities. That's why cities get blackouts, brownouts, and in some countries of the world, they actually have to ration their energy and they turn off the power at certain levels at certain times. This is on the cutting edge of energy because it's microgrid. You can take this in multiple units to power multiple things simultaneously. It doesn't take fuel like the diesel engines that are used everywhere else. You have to have somebody who's pouring the diesel in there. The diesel runs out, then you have to refill it. It's constantly refilling itself in the batteries, and you're also able to tap into the energy as it's being produced directly from the sun and the wind.
We're talking about something that is noiseless, fuel-less, and quite honestly, maintenance-free, really.
Yes, exactly. There's very little maintenance to do on this project.
I understand when I spoke with the creator here, the goal was to basically make it usable for anybody out there, not only a local target here, but we're talking about worldwide. This literally comes with the tools, instructions, everything for you to put this together yourself.
It's designed to actually go anywhere. You can ship it anywhere. And bringing it back home, it's deployable anywhere here in areas that are off-grid, construction sites that are spending their diesel fuel, refurbished places that have been destroyed by the floods. These things would be saving companies tremendous amounts of money, because one of the aspects that we're doing as Green Energy is we're developing a leasing company that you need energy on a weekly, monthly basis. You come to us, we take the energy to you. It's a done deal. You don't have to be worrying about somebody out there to fuel or breakdown of the system.
Basically, that's going to save a lot of money for companies out there. One of the goals the creator had in mind was to making sure that this unit was affordable. Is that the end goal as well?
It's very affordable, actually. In our leasing, we're 60 to 80% of the cost of a diesel generator when you consider the cost of diesel and maintenance. And what's important is that anybody who's using a diesel generator now knows that the price of diesel is fluctuating.
Yes.
Can you have a flat rate for your energy for diesel for the next 10 years or 5 years or 3 years or even the next couple weeks? That's where companies have a real difficult time. With our green energy units and the Avapod, yes, you can. You can know exactly what your energy costs are going to be. for the next 10, 20 years.
Obviously, companies out there, they're looking at their bottom line, and this is something that will help them there. Share with me is there tax credits now that basically is made available to them as well?
It's really important right now because the government in America, and we're speaking of businesses in America right now, that there are tax credits that are available for the Avopod. That's why business wants to contact us immediately, because you never do know when those tax credits will change or disappear. As well, you also get depreciation. So you'd be amazed at your final cost on this is limited quite well.
So we're talking about a cost-effective solution then.
Oh, absolutely. With the tax credits, the depreciation, the fact that you're not paying for fuel every day on this is going to save you tremendous amounts of money. And you can gauge it. You can actually put it as a fixed cost instead of a variable cost that kind of messes up most businesses, honestly.
Speaking of some of the variable modules that you have coming on here, the creator basically said that he's using only, I believe, 20% of the inside there. So we're talking about you could create what? A living space, an office space, a kitchen, a data center. I mean, really, once again, pretty limitless what can happen inside.
Well, exactly. Construction sites that bring on trailers to run their office space, those are expensive in itself. Then they have to run their diesel generators. The beautiful thing about the Avopod is that we can construct the whole office within the actual container unit. So it's self-contained. You need one trailer, boom, it's there. It's got your desks, it's got your computers, internet, everything that you need for an operating office in one spot. And then you need it here for a couple months and you need it the next place, no problem. Pick it up and move it.
So really it's quite limitless as far as what it can be used for. We're talking about a freezer module. You talked about a chiller module. What about a car port right there?
Yes, anything's possible. This is much more than energy. This is on the cutting edge of technology, of energy usage, of microgrids. It's the cutting edge.
Like you said, it's all very reliable because basically you know exactly what the costs are going to be on the front end. You also basically understand that you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, if you will, like you said earlier about a master grid.
Exactly. Anybody who actually wants a consistent flow of energy and at a flat rate of price, they would want one of these. And the industries are just varied from someone who's off the grid to construction companies, any kind of companies that use generators at backups. It's an endless between small to very large can use this, from local, national to multi-countries.
Amazing the applications that can be used. Jay, you got involved with this product quite honestly because you looked at it, you got excited. Let me ask you, what are some of the responses you're hearing out there when you show this unit to folks? What are they saying?
Oh, people are actually just amazed, completely shocked. You know, it's like the time has come and they see it. If you look at major energy things such as nuclear power, you know, I grew up in Arizona and they built a nuclear power plant there. And it cost them over $9 billion and they had to shut it down. And in a place like Arizona, they do have sun there, do they not?
Sure.
So you've got a place in the whole southern aspect of the country that has sun. Let's use it, and let's take this power and use it for ourselves.
The future of this company obviously is energized, and you're a big part of it, distributing it out there to folks. Anyone out there who's thinking about bringing this on, what do they need to do? Do they contact you, and how does it begin?
Yes, please go to greenenergyunits.com. We are the distributor for the Avopod. We're now working with numerous people, and we invite you to contact us and find out more and see how we can help you, because we're here to be of service to you.
Of service to you folks, take a look. We came out here to Boulder, Colorado because quite honestly, the talk of the town here is innovation. Always has been in Boulder, and this is where you're going to find the ideas that are changing the world out there. Green Energy Units, the distributor of the Avopod. Reliable power wherever you need it. This is Gary Atensi with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.
The emotional toll that financial stress can bring is why we offer debt relief services. Attorney Kevin Heipel has served over 5,000 clients. His qualified staff in each location understands how liberating it is to have your debt eliminated and your credit restored. We give you the personal attention you deserve, like we have for thousands of satisfied clients. We help good people like you get out of debt. Medical Massage International provides the public with independent, competent healthcare practitioners through the art of massage. We train therapists to last and sustain a career beyond our school by entering them into the medical world of massage. Establishing core values within our students to bring out the best in themselves is our goal. You too can join this diverse group of therapists to thrive in the medical massage world.
This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. I am with the owner and founder, Roger Shepard. Transcend Consulting Group started brand new here in 2012. Let me ask you, first of all, what got you involved in this type of industry?
What got me involved is I've been in the industry 28 years in basically leadership and consulting, senior leadership with various companies, Fortune 500 companies. And one of the things I wanted to do as I get towards my latter part of the years, I really wanted to give back to organizations of my learning experience and help them increase results, increase their sales, increase performance of organizations. So it's really a passion of what I like to do, and I'm kind of giving back from the experience that I had. I could continue in doing my own thing in the workforce, but I decided opening up a consulting group was a good thing to do.
Why is it more important today than any other time before in business history that basically people need a consulting group such as this?
I think consulting, it's a challenge because a lot of companies are going through a lot of rough change, and investing in a consultant can be somewhat of a challenge because it could be viewed as investing in somebody outside an organization. I think what's great about consulting today is if you can do a great job is you take a lot of companies tend to react fairly quickly, and they go back to the original roots of when they did to establish priorities or set strategies. So execution can be forgotten and it can be done wrong. So a consultant kind of brings back a holistic approach, takes everything back to square one, really analyzes what needs to be done in organizations, and can take a nice holistic approach to solve it. I think that at the same time, we live in a very complex environment. And I think having a good variety of opinions can really help express businesses. In fact, we even tell businesses to look outside your four walls. Not only look outside your four walls, look outside your industry. So if you're in the clothing industry, look at what airlines do. Look how people serve people. There's all kinds of great ideas out there. Right. Having that nice array of opinions can really be helpful to industries if they're open to it.
Like you said about the root, it's very important to get to the root of the personal strategies. So basically, that is what you're doing to begin with, getting to get a strategy together. Do you find that a lot of companies sometimes have strategies in place, but they're not able to execute those?
That's a great question, and the answer is yes. Developing strategy can be a very difficult process. And the reason it can be a difficult process is you can rush to a conclusion. You can rush to a conclusion of what you need to do. But the careful facts haven't really been outlined and looked at carefully. And you're developing a strategy maybe on some false assumptions. So you think the strategy might be right, but you haven't really overlooked the facts to say, is the strategy really correct? And secondly, we also look at strategy from our own views. If I'm a company executive, I like to look at my strategy from my own views. But that's not really important. What's important is the view from the outside. Does the strategy really stick from people out looking for you? And that's where the critical enabler comes in. It's not looking how you see it, it's how other people are going to see if that strategy can be implemented, if it can work.
So basically what you're saying is a lot of times they may think they have a strategy in place, but they haven't really put it together in such a way that they've learned from the outside sources as well. Let me ask you this, how important is it for you to engage in the workplace, making sure your workers are involved as well?
Yeah, it's very critical, and that leads to two other areas that we concentrate on. We do workforce engagement, but we also do leading change. So I'll touch on briefly on how those work. First of all, if you're going to develop strategy can be a change, and it could be somewhat disruptive to an organization if they're not buying into it, if they don't understand it, if you don't have that, what we call that meaning. Okay, that could be fairly disruptive to a workforce. So what we do is we have actually a system in place, about a day-and-a-half program to go through it, at how to implement change that not only will be not disruptive, it'll actually be bought in and be excited. That's a big dichotomy, but we lead them through how you can implement change so there's really a lot of sense of buy-in, and we're all in this team approach. And it's a fairly complex and day-and-a-half to go through it. The other thing is workforce engagement, and that's actually one of our stellar areas that we concentrate in. I don't know if you know this or not, but roughly 70% of America's workforce today is either disengaged or just not really engaged in their business. And only about 30% of workers are highly engaged. That's an amazing number. And the numbers are close to 300 billion of lost productivity a year. So bridging the gap between leading change and workforce engagement, and they have similar tie-ins, help execute a strategy that'll put things in place so they're successful.
Speaking of this comprehensive analysis that it's done initially, kind of walk us through that. What happens at that point?
We try to break down a lot of the barriers in situation analysis. We call it the situation analysis. What happens if you're going to lead a workforce engagement study? You can't just go in and try to implement some of the strategies and solutions and tactics right off the bat. You really got to have a really complete understanding of what they're doing today, what they're not doing today, what are the things you think they're missing, what are they really focused on. You need to interview a lot of the workers and understand where they're coming from. If you're going to come up with a solution, the solution's more dead on. My solution to one company might be different to another solution to another company. So I can't take an approach where I have a model, I have a process that I follow, but the process only allows me to make sure I'm checking off on all parts of the facets of the organization that we can identify as issues and opportunities. It's a highly engaged process, and it's one that has to be done, very similar to strategy. If you're going to implement a strategy, you have to really think through the strategic analysis portion of it, or you could be missing. I know companies even today that don't take a necessarily holistic approach. They have an idea, they want to implement something, and they'll execute it. And what happens is they haven't thought through all the processes in place, and all of a sudden now you have something where they want to develop workforce engagement, implement change, implement a strategy, and they've done a little disruption instead of helped.
Let me ask you this. You see a lot of companies invest quite a bit in putting the right people in place. You think that's basically half the challenge because you want to be able to engage them as well and make sure that it's, like you said, not a disruptive to the company, but yet at the same time improving.
It's a good point. Part of the engagement process that we try to tell companies about is you're investing so much on recruiting. And they look at the recruiting side, they look at all the requirements, the technical requirements, then they'll go through a lengthy interview process, right? I've been through interview processes where, I'm sitting in a room of 7 people, 8 people at once after going through a series of interviews. So we take they take a very careful look at their employees, which is a great thing. Sure. And there's a lot of books been written about that. There's a lot of analysis written about that. We don't necessarily concentrate in that area, but what that essentially provides is people are putting a lot of work. And then when the final checkoff is, they do a background check. So there's all these things that they do to put in place to get the best employee. Then they get the employee in. Then what happens? Then the employee after 3 months feels great. Okay, they're in that honeymoon period. After 6 months, they feel great. After 9 months, things can start to change. And that's where the engagement side of the business has to pick up. We've invested a lot to get these people in there. Now, how are we going to take them to the next step? And what is their role, the employee's role in the process? One thing I would like to mention regarding the engagement side, leaders in the world today are extremely bright. They're probably some of the brightest, most inquisitive, the most curious, the most articulate. They want change. They want to be heard. They're excellent at that. What we try to do is we try to get those thoughts and processes more streamlined up in the organization in addition to outside the organization, like a halo effect. So we try to streamline a lot of the ideas and processes from the people in the organization to bring those and bottle them up.
Let me ask you, companies a lot of times, they get off track after something's been put in place. How important are these focused solutions that you provide in creating crisis management?
As I mentioned before, we try to get back to the true meaning of the company and what we're looking at. There have been strategies I've seen put in place by some companies that seem like they're off track. And it can easily happen. You see something happen, you don't think through all the situation. You've kind of lost a little bit of that genus of what you're all about. And that's okay if that's where you want to be and that's where your consumer wants you to be. But that could be very challenging if you haven't put in the things to take on this new road. So at Transcend Consulting Group, we try to get back to the real root of why you're in business, why people buy from you, why people come to your restaurant, why people come to your business, why they come to your website. That true meaning of why you're in business, and it goes why just making money. It's what are you truly solving, right? And what are you truly solving for that experience? What is that experience of the buyer? That is the portion we try to focus on. And yes, you can get on track. We come back to meaning is how we do it.
You said you have experience with Fortune 500 companies that you bring to the table of experience, but honestly, this would work for a diverse group of any client out there, really.
We do. Actually, with Transcend Consulting Group in the Denver market, we actually work with small and medium-sized companies, local entrepreneurs on how to think through some of these processes. These processes can be used for almost any business. Some of them are more complex than others. If somebody has an organization of 3, you don't need an organization engagement process to be put in place, but you can think about strategy. I think is fantastic for local entrepreneurs in the Denver market, and we'd love to help them, obviously. Look at your business and really understand it and understand the competition, but open your eyes to all the great businesses out there and what they do, and take note of it. Take note of the companies that do great things and what do they do that you can learn from. And it will be way beyond your 4 walls. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of neat to see.
Very true. Folks, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. You're going to see their website right there. On the website, you're going to see some basically services that they offer you there. Also the vision of what the team has put together here. You're also going to see some articles that pertain to businesses out there because as you can see, Roger basically wants you to think outside of that box, wants you to get beyond the walls of your own company to basically put together a plan, a strategy that your team comes in and basically focuses on some solutions and gets optimum results.
That's correct. Well, one of the things at Transcend we can do is we can go from A to Z as well. I mean, we can really work with companies that say, look, I just want a consulting, I just want a quick hour, I just want to be able to talk to you about this. Or we could do a full analysis. We could do a full analysis. It could quite take some time, depending on the complexity, depending on the size of the company, the resources and budget. So we try to tailor it to the particular need of the company. If we feel there's a need to go beyond the stretch of maybe just a typical consulting piece, we'll suggest that. The one thing at Transcend Consulting Group that we absolutely pride ourselves on is any work we do, we won't take it on unless we know what we're doing, we have a great solution, and the most important thing, and it's very important, is we will survive if our companies that we help survive. We have to be successful, and we will only implement solutions that have incredible returns. The investment you put into it has to return great things. If it doesn't, we won't be in business. So that's how we approach our business.
That is the Transcend Consulting Group, basically helping businesses out there face challenges every day, decisions that they're working through, and they can help you as well. Their contact information is at the bottom of the screen. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know. Until next time, if you know of a business who you feel the whole city should know about, nominate them, we'll send a reporter out. This is Gary Atencio from CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.